This is a special News Center 7 presentation from WHIO TV. Celebrating Cheryl is a production of WHIO TV Channel 7. Sponsored by Elizabeth Diamond Company, Joseph Airport Hyundai, Bath Creations, and Steve Myers Service.
I'm Cheryl McHenry. Pools have just closed in Ohio, gushing 100 million gallons of water from underneath the Great Miami River. We're scheduled to be on the ground here at Monroe for only about 2 hours. This city is ready for this Super Bowl. I'd like to say thanks for the memories.
As we welcome you in, we mark the end of an incredible era in our newsroom. Hello, I'm James Brown.
And I'm Gabrielle Enright. After more than 4 decades bringing truth, clarity, and compassion to your screens, Cheryl McHenry is signing off for the last time.
And we are here to celebrate with you Cheryl's remarkable journey. She has touched countless lives and left an indelible mark on our community.
Cheryl McHenry, the journalist, was once Cheryl, the little girl. That's where we start Cheryl's personal story.
And along the way, we look at how her upbringing provided a foundation for the remarkable woman we know today. October 20th, 1956, Ken and Dorothy McHenry welcomed Cheryl into their world. Cheryl was their third of 6 children. Dad was in the Air Force in Texas, and when Cheryl was 8 years old,
my mother had her first bout with breast cancer when we were in Waco. She had her first mastectomy, had radiation.
Doctors said the cancer was in her lymph nodes.
I'd never heard of such a thing.
In 1966, Ken moved the family to Wright Pat, where he took a job as an X-ray tech.
I remember when I was 11, my dad telling me, he told all of us older kids individually that she was terminally ill, that she wasn't going to make it.
Cheryl could see her mom's health getting worse.
It was a Saturday, and the weather is November. It was November 9th. It was cold.
Cheryl was at her St. Helens grade school drill practice, but something told her she needed to go home.
I walked in, and my brother Tim said, she died. It's hard. But, you know, it was, I was also relieved as a kid because, you know, she didn't have to suffer anymore. We didn't have to worry about it anymore. We just had to move on then. I haven't thought about that day in a long time.
Her dad made the decision to keep the family in Dayton.
It was home by then, and people had been so kind to us here.
And Cheryl McHenry has been forever grateful, always felt a special bond and the need to give back to the place which wrapped its arms around her family. Her mom's battle with cancer taught Cheryl to be resourceful. But while her mom was still alive and the family still living in Texas in the 1960s, Cheryl talked about how TV fascinated her.
Suddenly, everything's on TV in front of you.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
For days, she watched the coverage of President Kennedy's assassination.
I was mesmerized not only by the video, but also by the commentators and the words they used to describe what we were seeing.
Later, it was Neil Armstrong walking on the moon.
It's one small step for man,
I was just always fascinated watching it, but I didn't think then that it was something that I would do because they were all men.
It's located at Tonsanut Airfield.
Only men reported on the serious news stories locally and nationally.
Governor Wallace is now walking away from the door.
I was always curious.
And she'd go as far as reading the phone book or newspaper, anything she could get her hands on. She might not have known it at the time, but news was in her blood. Cheryl went to Carroll High School in Riverside.
I started hearing more women's voices on the radio.
People like Leslie Stahl.
I always liked to talk. I liked speech class in high school and theater arts and things like that. So I thought this might be a perfect marriage of the things that I enjoy doing and that I'm interested in.
Tom Sobleski was one of her teachers at Carroll.
I joke sometimes saying that I taught her everything she knows, but that certainly is not the case.
After high school, Cheryl went to the University of Cincinnati and got her degree in broadcasting. Cheryl said in those days, most news reporters got their start in radio. So she went to work as a radio news reporter in Cincy and Dayton, including WING.
I had grown up watching this station and watched Don Wayne and Jim Baldridge. And I remember Gil Whitney predicting the Xenia tornado.
The weather radar now shows a tornado developing.
After 3 years behind the microphone, Cheryl relied on her resiliency to interview for a reporter's job at WHIO TV, Channel 7.
He hired me, and, I was so grateful. I even offered to take a pay cut. He's like, no. You need to make more than you're making now.
That first year, she was WHIO's nightside reporter and made $16,000.
I find it amazing as a 25-ish-year-old young woman walking into WHIO, the iconic WHIO, on her first day of work, 25 years old or thereabouts, and she's meeting and working with giants. These were people that she was working with, and now she's the giant.
Good evening and welcome to News Center 7.
And when it came to working alongside Don Wayne and Jim Baldridge,
it just felt surreal to me. I thought, here I am sitting with these guys, I've watched them. So it was very nerve-wracking, but they were always very nice to me.
The station put Cheryl on the police and courts beats and listened to part of its reasoning.
Well, we like to send young, attractive women down there, because the cops like to talk to them. Well, that didn't work so well all the time. I remember the crusty old guy from the Dayton Daily News used to get more news than I did.
During the mid-1980s, she was substitute anchoring weekends. She kept working hard. And in 1986, WHIO gave her the 9 a.m. anchor job. Then in 1989, the station promoted her to 5:30 p.m. anchor.
Fun times, rewarding times, but stressful.
And in 1991, station management called her into the office.
Do you want to anchor the big news, the 6 and the 11? And I'm like, well, sure.
Cheryl McHenry.
I didn't really think I wanted to work nights. I've never been much of a night person, but you don't turn down that job when it comes to you.
Breaking news now from News Center 7.
It turned out to be one of the best decisions WHIO management ever made. They saw her work ethic and her commitment to the Miami Valley. Cheryl joined Jim Baldridge anchoring the evening news until Jim's retirement in 2009.
I anchored with Jim Baldridge for 18 years, and I learned so much from him. Really smart guy, really quirky sense of humor. And when he left in 2009, it was a sad day just because he had been part of so many things here, and I'd worked alongside of him for so long and was so fortunate. And then for him to be succeeded by another JB, James Brown.
And today's efforts include a march and a rally.
And I can tell you, I think you have been every bit as good, every bit as wonderful to work with. You're smart. You care so much about upholding our standards here, and I see it every day, how much you care, how many questions you ask, how you demand the best of everyone. And let me just say that these years with you have just been an honor, and I have learned a lot from you. You've made me better, and thank you for that.
Cheryl McHenry is a legendary journalist, but she's also a dedicated mother, wife, sister, and daughter. And if you know Cheryl, you know family is everything.
You will meet the people who mean the most to her, and we will give you a glimpse at the personal side of Cheryl from the people who know her best.
Congratulations, Cheryl, on 44 years at WHIO TV, Channel 7.
As dedicated as Cheryl's been to our community and to WHIO, she never wavered when it came to her family and her faith.
Cheryl and her husband Bob are working parents, and as much as they have enjoyed their careers, they always tried putting their two daughters first.
Now just mention their daughters' names during conversation and Mom and Dad's eyes light up. Cheryl's professional career played out every day. She knew early on that was just part of being a journalist. As hard as she worked to meet those expectations, she worked even harder to be the best mom, wife, sister, and daughter she could be. Cheryl was 35 years old when she had her first daughter, Christina.
I remember she was always there. I feel like no matter how long the day was.
But Cheryl had always been a planner. That structure helped her juggle work and home life.
I was reminiscing on, her involvement in our Girl Scout trips and events and sleeping on the floor of COSI with us at the end of a long week. And, even though she had such a busy, demanding job, I didn't really think about it. 3 years later, Bob and Cheryl had their second daughter, Maria.
I'd go to school in my suit or whatever I was wearing to work that day and work hot dog lunch because, it was one way I could be part of their world.
When Christina turned 11, Cheryl realized she needed to be home at night for her daughters.
I've always tried to put my kids first, but I think that's what most parents do.
She asked station management to stop anchoring the 11 p.m. newscast, and the station showed compassion and said yes.
I remember reading Junie B. Jones books before bed, and even when I couldn't read, a whole chapter, she would read a couple words and then let me read like the does and the ands. But yeah, it was really great having her there for us to put us to bed every night.
Talking with Cheryl about losing her own mother at such a young age, it taught her lots of things.
Kind, loving, compassionate. She has empathy for everyone.
If we lose compassion, we have nothing.
Credit Cheryl's dad, Ken, for instilling that compassion. Ken is 94 and is so proud of his daughter.
She just has a great feeling for people.
Cheryl's little sister, Alexis, has always looked up to her, not for what viewers saw in her, but for what Cheryl did when their family lost their mother.
She was really my rock during all of that, and geez, didn't think I was going to get emotional. Yeah, she filled in a lot of the gaps, and she provided a lot of nurturing.
And all these years later, big sister Cheryl is still the person the family leans on.
She's pretty cool, yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
That's how you see your big sister?
She's a dork, but yeah, I just love her. She's the best of us.
And as strong as Cheryl's compassion is, her faith has never wavered.
I have a long mental list of people I pray for. I pray for, my family. I pray for people who've lost someone, especially a child. Pray for people dealing with pain. Pray for peace in the world. Troubles me to see things going on that do. I pray for people who are hungry.
Prayer has also helped Cheryl be more introspective.
In our lives, most of us have it pretty good. And I think we should not forget that.
And family is a constant reminder of how God has blessed Cheryl.
I think this retiring is going to come with a lot of mixed emotions. It's a really big step, but she's had such a long, successful career. I'm really happy for her.
Maria called those happy tears, and there was no one she could be more proud of than her mom. The blessings continue. Maria got married last summer.
Cheryl and her husband Bob welcomed their son-in-law into the family. Cheryl's honored to have earned the respect of viewers across our viewing area.
We stopped by a particularly important house. They watch Cheryl all the time.
WHIO has never taken for granted being the #1 rated CBS affiliate in the country. We have the most loyal viewers, and we are so grateful.
And that loyalty comes with viewers trusting Cheryl all these years. You're doing something right when this particular family consistently watches News Center 7.
And records show the teacher had already paid.
Not sure these loyal viewers really need an introduction. At their farm in Greene County, Cheryl McHenry and Channel 7 are as popular as they've ever been. And to hear Mr. and Mrs. Mike DeWine tell it, when you think about Cheryl, what is it about her?
Well, it's almost like a friend. it's not a friend that you see, but you see every day, and I think, a friend that you like and trust and you see and you listen to.
Over the years, the DeWines interacted with more journalists than they could count. Most names and faces faded, but not Cheryl's.
She really understands the Miami Valley, and I think, again, that's something that I appreciate. Fran and I grew up here in the Miami Valley, and having someone on the air delivering the news for that long, she's just consistent.
While talking with the DeWines in their living room, both had their own unique personal Cheryl stories they shared with me.
When I think of Cheryl, we've watched her, 4 decades. But I think the most impactful time for me was during COVID.
For weeks and weeks, Cheryl had afternoon TV get-togethers with the governor. She would be in WHIO's studio as the governor updated Ohioans on what COVID was doing to our state. One afternoon, as Cheryl worked to update viewers on the latest COVID cases, she got this voicemail from the governor.
Hey, Cheryl, Mike DeWine, I know you're getting ready to go on the air, but I want to get some clarification to you on today's numbers, because it's backlog stuff coming in. It's a little confusing. So I'll try the newsroom, but if you pick this up sometime, give me a call.
How do you feel knowing that she was tickled to get a direct call from you and that she saved it?
Well, I'm flattered that she saved it. But, look, I had trust in her that if I gave her the information, she would report it correctly.
And Mrs. DeWine always admired Cheryl for being a working mom and did not let her pregnancy slow down her commitment to the Miami Valley.
One of my funniest stories, I think, is that back in 1992, actually, I was pregnant with our youngest daughter, Anna, and she was pregnant as well. And so I would watch her, and I would watch her maternity clothes. And we had at least 2 outfits that were identical. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. We must have shopped at the same place.
The day I talked with the DeWines, Cheryl was clearly on their minds. The governor made sure he wore a very specific tie.
I know she's a big sports fan and she follows the Reds.
The governor also talked about his own retirement from politics next year. He even joked, saying he might have to call and leave Cheryl a new voicemail, looking for some retirement advice. But until then...
Cheryl, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for 44 years of bringing us the news every single day. We trust you. We like you. And those things, I think, are vitally important for your viewers. You grew up in the Miami Valley. You've reported on the Miami Valley for 4 decades. You understand us. You understand who we are. And I think that makes your reporting just really, really special. So thank you for what you've done. We wish you all the best in your retirement.
When we come back, a look at Cheryl's impact on the Miami Valley. How her work ethic and dedication to journalism have made a lasting impression on the community she loves.
Cheryl's the consummate professional, and beyond that, just a great person. Somebody who made the newsroom that much better.
I could ask her anything, and she was very forthright and forthcoming. Everything from discipline to spring break suggestions. I mean, we became friends, and I still value that friendship.
Well, it was a pleasure to work with you. Yeah. Always enjoyed what we did. I know we did some great work together. Like I said, for 37 years, I worked with Cheryl. She was a great colleague, a great friend. I think she's a great friend to the community and the viewers.
For more than 4 decades, Cheryl's been the face of WHIO.
And that would not have been at all possible had it not been for all of you, our loyal Channel 7 viewers.
There's a saying, you never have a second chance to make a first impression.
I've always thought that if you're phony doing your job on TV, I think people see through it.
And TV news viewers know what they want.
Why do you think the community trusts you?
Well, probably for one thing, I've been around a long time. I think there is something to be said for longevity. And I hope that they realize that no matter what, I'm here to be accurate. I care about that. I care about fairness. I care about the community, and I hope that comes through.
We're going to stay on scene.
What she did not offer was her opinion.
Cheryl just wants to tell the news and tell people what's going on and let people decide what they think about it.
And she quietly expected that from everybody else in WHIO's newsroom.
Well, you always wanted to, when you were out in the field, get that message from Cheryl. Hey, good job on this story. Hey, I really liked that. She pushed you to be better too, because sometimes you'd get a note that said like, oops, this is not quite right. And so she also really helped keep people on their toes.
Cheryl possessed that sort of mentality even before she joined the WHIO team almost 44 years ago.
I just feel very fortunate that I was part of that generation, the Don Waynes, the Jim Baldridges, the Gil Whitneys, Ted Bryan, all those wonderful people.
Cheryl McHenry tells us
Cheryl never wavered, and viewers never wavered with her.
The biggest compliment somebody can give me is, you're credible. You know, I watch every night because I trust you and you have credibility.
Had viewers not trusted Cheryl, there was no way they would have allowed her to anchor more than 10,000 newscasts during her career.
It hasn't hurt that maybe 2 generations of young women growing up have seen a strong leader, a strong reporter, a real professional, ethical person on television.
But even Cheryl admitted timing, a little luck, and being at the right place at the right time contributed to her longevity.
I'm grateful, and I've been very fortunate. The station management, no matter who it's been, because I've outlasted all of them, they've invited me to stay and expressed wanting me to stay.
Salute to all of you.
Cheryl always put her coworkers and viewers ahead of herself.
The love of the business, hard work, dedication, a genuine interest in news. This wasn't just a job or even just a career. This was her passion. And that came through every single day in her reporting, in her anchoring, in her being in the building, mentoring a lot of people, including myself.
Cheryl did not hesitate, taking a back seat so others could succeed. She joked she was always a martyr, but in true Cheryl fashion.
You know, sometimes I think I could have done a better job mentoring young people. I try to give suggestions and try to help people. I've tried to be a role model, though.
Cheryl never took our viewers for granted.
Got another one?
Because without you, there would be no WHIO TV. For more than 40 years, Cheryl never really asked viewers for anything until now.
Keep supporting local news. Keep watching WHIO. I think it's important to support local journalism.
That is the best retirement gift Cheryl said she could ever receive.
Well, thank you.
What most people did not know, Cheryl planned to retire 3 years ago, but her heart outmuscled her head and changed her mind. She felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility.
When I look around me, and I love this station, I love my coworkers, I love the work, and I love our viewers.
That love will never waver, as she credited so much of that to the generations of WHIO TV viewers she said she will always see as part of her family.
I just want to tell them I appreciate them. I appreciate their loyalty. I appreciate our viewers for staying with us all these years, and I want to thank them. Thank you for watching, and see you around. Say hello if you see me. Don't ask me, did you used to be Cheryl McHenry? She's still in here somewhere. Thank you.
And when we asked if Cheryl thought she had made a difference in our community,
in true Cheryl fashion, she was extremely modest, and she said, "I hope I have done my best to inform and educate." The road to a good story sometimes takes us out of the Miami Valley, even other parts of the globe.
yeah, Cheryl has covered history-making events from around our world and impactful stories closer to home. On the way, we will show you the stories Cheryl covered with tenacity and compassion that helped define her career. After more than 40 years, you come to report on some pretty impactful stories.
And sometimes those stories take you from the Miami Valley to places around the world. When it came to storytelling,
hello, I'm James Brown.
I'm Cheryl McHenry.
Cheryl grasped that early on in her career. Story after story.
Delphi workers are taking to the streets to tell their side of the controversy.
After story.
I'm glad you didn't ask me for my favorite, because I don't really have a favorite. When you think about, usually it's the one I'm working on right now is my favorite, because I throw myself into them.
Her ability to string pieces of sound, pictures, and words together mirrored artwork.
If you're really going to communicate to the viewer, you have to have that storytelling ability. And she has that. And her writing skills are excellent. I mean, she's a great communicator.
From crime scenes to courtroom trials.
Cheryl's definitely one of the best I've ever had the opportunity to work with.
WHIO had one of the best journalists of our generation. Retired WHIO Special Projects photographer Byron Sturzman recognized Cheryl's talent early on.
Well, Cheryl, I think, raised the level, that bar for everyone. I had the opportunity to work with her for 37 years.
One of the best things that ever happened to WHIO TV was getting Cheryl. Cheryl is just has been a tremendous addition. She's a pro. She's a different kind of television anchor. She doesn't sell glamour. She sells intelligence and professionalism.
Cheryl and Jim Baldridge anchored together 18 years.
We join Newssetter 7's Jim Baldridge live at Ground Zero to find out how
Cheryl did not just work her stories. She became obsessed with them.
We have flames at least the size of the tanker growing rapidly.
And I remember the big stories, the big Miamisburg train derailment in 1986, where 30,000 people had to evacuate their homes for a few days.
And one of the first things I remember is Cheryl standing along the tracks in Miamisburg with those huge plumes of smoke behind her, just right in the middle of her report, no problem.
To call her an all-purpose reporter would be an understatement.
I went to one political convention in the late 80s in Atlanta.
And then there was this video nobody will forget from 2015. She was more than 7,000 miles away from Dayton, wearing a military helmet and bullet-resistant vest.
I went with the 445th Airlift Wing from Wright Pat all the way to Afghanistan.
She shared with viewers the job the 445th played in the war on foreign terrorism. While it was not on the news, the Dayton Children's Telethon was always special. Cheryl emceed the telethon almost 30 years and helped raise millions of dollars to help with kids' medical care.
It's heartening to see families who have a sick child or a child who's been injured, and to see the care they get at that hospital and see the people come forward with money that they've raised so that the hospital can have the latest, greatest state-of-the-art equipment to help that child and every other child recover. So yeah, that was very rewarding.
Broadcasting live on radio and television brought it a certain sense of excitement for her.
Yeah, I thought it would be really cool to do play-by-play or even the color for the Reds on radio, but then Marty and Joe kind of had that locked up.
Hi, Cheryl. Marty Brenneman here. From one retiree to one who's getting ready to do the same thing. Congratulations on 44 years of news reporting at WHIO TV. You have become an icon in that city, and why not? You're into people's homes almost every single day. You've had a wonderful career, and I hope you have a wonderful retirement.
Live TV allowed viewers to see the personal, caring, compassionate person they needed during times of crisis. One of the biggest of Cheryl's career, May 27, 2019.
I will never forget how Cheryl was my rock through that whole experience.
Cheryl and Chief Meteorologist McCall Vrydaghs saved lives when 15 tornadoes wiped out part of our community that night.
It was very emotional going through that night, and she just kept me going. And I know that it was even hard for her. There were moments where I could see she was feeling emotional. And we just had a bonding experience where we could go through this together. And I was so appreciative to have her there with me.
And then just a few months later, in the middle of the night, Cheryl got the call about the Oregon District shooting. Channel 7 and our community leaned on Cheryl to get us through.
Cheryl is an icon.
Dayton Police Homicide Detective Doyle Burke and Cheryl go way back. Both were rookies at the jobs when they met. Over the last decade, Cheryl put renewed focus on helping get answers from murder victims' families in cases where police never arrested the killers.
The Miami Valley murder mysteries we do, I enjoy working with detectives, the Dayton Police Cold Case Unit, and talking to these families because it makes them feel that people haven't totally forgotten their loved ones.
She asked the right questions when she was told we couldn't give the answer or whatever it was. She accepted that. She wasn't argumentative. She had a role, and she knew that role, and she knew that she was just as important, if not more important than us, but she never tried to play that card. She just, we had a great working relationship from day one.
In late 2024, Cheryl produced and wrote a half-hour special on Cheryl Coker's murder. The Riverside woman disappeared in 2018. 6 months later, people found her body in a wooded area in Greene County. Police think someone murdered Cheryl. Their only suspect, Cheryl's husband, but they never arrested him. Cheryl also pushed WHIO TV to peel back the complicated layers of suicide surrounding our veterans. Her work put new focus on the everyday struggles our vets face during and after service. The special, called Invisible Wound, was honored to accept an Emmy. But along with the difficult, hard news stories, Cheryl was never one to outkick her coverage after being a lifelong Bengals fan.
I got to go to the Super Bowl when the Bengals were in it 3 years ago, and that was thrilling. It was a lot of work and long days, but what
damn Bengals.
Those darn, and they were in within a minute and a half of winning that game.
You know what they say about TV? The reality is, they do not make them like Cheryl anymore. What an extraordinary journey. Cheryl has made a huge impact on the Miami Valley and on the many journalists and colleagues she has worked beside for 44 years.
You know, some old friends talk about Cheryl's influence on their careers and the legacy we work to carry on every day.
Celebrating Cheryl and 44 years at WHIO TV, Channel 7.
Congratulations, Cheryl, on 44 years at WHIO TV, Channel 7.
We talked with dozens of current and former WHIO co-workers. They used words like legendary, precise, and a trailblazer.
One even said being at the same station for more than 40 years is insane. There is no way we can truly measure the monumental impact she's had on all of us.
We're talking to crews about their...
Cheryl McHenry brought so much to WHIO Professional. Every day, she led by example.
Well, Cheryl was extraordinary from the very beginning. She was a pro.
News Center 7's I-Team.
None of us will ever forget her leadership, her guidance, and the way she supported her coworkers, personally and professionally.
I can remember first day I walked in, just an intern, and I think Cheryl may have been the first one that said hello to me and introduced herself, which is typical. I think there's probably hundreds of people that could say that.
She was one of the warmest people from the get-go. The second I got here, I felt like I knew her for years, and she just wraps her arms around you from the very beginning, and then all the way through my career, 28 years.
I love all of you. I love the place.
Cheryl made it so easy for the staff. She was always the constant, the rock staff could turn to for anything.
It's all I've ever known in this Channel 7 newsroom, going back to when we were on Wilmington, moving over here to our new studios. She's just always been here.
Her level of expectation for herself easily spread across the newsroom.
I really looked up to her and, followed her lead, even though I was older than she was. I'm proud to know her, and knowing her made me a better person and a better journalist.
But it was also her kindness and friendship which touched people's hearts.
In your eyes, what has Cheryl meant to WHIO?
Oh my goodness. Don't use this because I'm tearing up. But she's been everything.
Letitia will forever cherish her talks with Cheryl about everything from work to parenting to life's everyday obstacles. Everyone always knew Cheryl was a friend who cared.
She's never gives you the impression that you are a bother to her. She has time for you. She has time to talk to you. She's interested in what you're doing and how she can work with you. And that's a very rare quality.
And former WHIO sports director Mike Hartsock worked with Cheryl almost 40 years. He, like so many others, always marveled at Cheryl's unique talents.
Anybody that knows Cheryl knows about her uncanny memory. She never forgets a birthday. And if you're looking for details of a story from 10, 15, 20 years ago, 10 minutes with Cheryl is better than 2 or 3 hours deep diving into the filing cabinet.
And as one coworker put it, Cheryl is among the Mount Rushmore of WHIO greats. And had it not been for the path Cheryl helped clear, none of us would be where we are today.
I think the most important thing is just to ask yourself, what would Cheryl do? If there's a situation where you've got a writing question or you've got an editorial question about how we cover a story, how we write it, how we approach it, just take those lessons Cheryl has imparted over for me the last 15 years and keep applying her work ethic.
The best retirement gift WHIO could give Cheryl is the promise that every day we uphold the impeccable work ethic Cheryl instilled in us and do our very best to continue her tradition and legacy.
I love you and I will miss you. And I am so thankful to God that we came across each other's paths. I'm not the same because I know you. I'm better. And I thank you for that.
After 44 years, you feel like you know Cheryl. After all, you've been inviting her into your home each night when you watch News Center 7.
Cheryl has something to say to you and the good people she's worked with all these years. Hope you can stick around, and you're going to hear her thoughts and wishes for you.
I think with her career, I think she has really put her heart and soul into it. She always strives to be fair, to for accuracy. And so I think that, in really putting a human touch to the stories she does, the people she interviews, really wanting to tell people's stories because they matter. Mom, I love you. I'm so proud of the incredible career you've had over the last 44 years, even more than that. I'm just proud that you are my mom, and I can't wait for this next chapter for you and to spend more time with you in the coming months and years.
You remember the early days of working with Cheryl? When she was green behind the ears, when she was cops and courts, that was her beat.
I don't know if she was ever green behind the ears, but she stood out. We dealt with a number of different media personalities, but she just stood out. I mean, she just was that person that you just felt that trust. You felt that genuineness that she just exuded. And I think that's what made her so popular. I mean, that came through even through the TV set.
Very, very proud of you. Very, very proud. And I respect you. I respect your talent. As an old speech teacher, I respect your delivery. Like I told her back in 1973, she still has a wonderful voice and a great way of delivery.
Cheryl is the last of her generation of journalists here in the Miami Valley.
She prides herself on being fair, unbiased, and she left her opinion out of her stories. But with her retiring, I asked her opinion and advice for WHIO and you.
It takes people a while to trust you, no matter who you are.
And while earning that trust is more challenging than ever, WHIO will never take our viewers for granted. We will never take a day off.
Because we're the ones who cover your community. We're the ones who are informing you of what affects your wallet, your health, your safety, your security.
Every day, WHIO will keep working to uphold the highest standards.
Doesn't mean that we're perfect.
And we will learn from our missteps. And we know making these same mistakes again is just not acceptable.
Maintain standards, uphold standards of basic journalism, work to improve every day. Always strive for accuracy. take that extra step to make sure it's right, that you're being fair.
And one of the best ways to carry on Cheryl's legacy.
Always strive to get better in your writing, in your storytelling, and in just maintaining that standard that our viewers have come to expect from us.
And through the years, one of the things Cheryl learned about herself, she said all of us should consider.
I wouldn't have worried so much about things. I'm kind of a worrywart. Maybe let some of the smaller things roll off a little more.
And as WHIO moves forward, our viewers will welcome Gabrielle Enright into their homes. Cheryl could not be more proud, as she has always been Gabrielle's biggest supporter.
People try too hard to fill someone else's shoes. Gabby can't fill Cheryl McHenry's shoes.
Nor should she try. She needs to be Gabby because she is Gabby, and everyone loves Gabby because of who she is. She's so kind, she's so caring, and she's just the ultimate fine co-worker. She'll do anything for anybody to make your job easier.
The Vice President has...
Gabrielle's been at WHIO 26 years.
Reporting live from our Greene County Bureau, Gabrielle Enright.
She's done more jobs on and off camera than anyone else in the station's 76-year history. She was a natural fit to help carry on WHIO's rich history.
I would tell Gabby, girl, you got this. You're smart, you work hard. What a positive attitude she has. And I would just tell Gabby, just keep being who you are, because everybody loves Gabby. Gabby loves everybody. And nobody's going to work harder than she will. So I would say good luck, and you're going to knock it out of the park.
Cheryl will go from WHIO's most respected to WHIO's most loyal viewer. Yeah, she might be biased in her love for Channel 7, but no one will argue she's definitely earned it.
I will take these memories and this station and this work with me the rest of my life. And I'll always be grateful. And that last day is going to be tough, but I'll leave knowing I'm leaving it in the best of hands with people like you. You're the standard bearer. And it's been such a pleasure to work with you and everybody here.
There will be a hole in the newsroom, and in our hearts, there's no denying that, but the bench strength runs deep here at WHIO TV. News Center 7 anchor Gabrielle Enright has been with us almost 30 years. She's reported on some of the biggest stories. She leads the anchor desk from morning until night. She's hometown proud and deeply invested in the Miami Valley. And with Cheryl now passing the torch, she leaves us in very good hands.
Well, Cheryl is my mentor. She's my friend. And I still can't believe she's retiring. I promise to work very hard to live up to the legacy that she is leaving behind. And James, we've been friends a long time. Well, a very long time. I'm happy and I'm proud to work with you. And together, we'll continue to lead News Center 7.
And we are very grateful, as I said just a few moments ago, to have someone like Gabby in our presence on the desk in the newsroom every day. We are so proud of you. Our crew is grateful to work with you. And when we come back, our last word about our friend Cheryl. As you have seen, with Cheryl's 44 years here at WHIO, she has earned the respect and friendship of those around her. She's worked hard. She's a leader, a mentor, and an advocate.
She is kind and thoughtful. She always calls you by your name, and she remembers absolutely everything. She's a pro. She's the journalist you see on TV, and she's really, really nice.
And that's why everybody loves Cheryl. And Cheryl, we wish you every happiness.
WHIO would like to thank our sponsors of Celebrating Cheryl, Elizabeth Diamond Company, Joseph Airport Hyundai, Bath Creations, and Steve Myers Service.